Spain are world champions for the second time in their history, and boy did they deserve it.
Williams, and thundering for Spain by Ferran Torres!
They suffocated Argentina. They pressed them so well that they end up just giving the ball back. They end up panicking.
Yeah.
And then you're having to kick the ball away. Then they get the ball back. Then they start probing again. Spain were unbelievable.
Spain were the best team in the entire tournament. I mean, it wasn't even close. The final itself was so one-sided. I thought Argentina was going to come in, maybe make it a little bit interesting, but Spain controlled the tempo from the beginning till the end. I mean, the Argentinians didn't have a shot, not a shot on target, just a shot in general until extra time. And that's what Spain do, and that's what they did all tournament. There's a reason these guys only conceded one goal, and that was to Belgium. And even that goal was hilarious because it was completely away from the run of play. Belgium had basically no momentum, pulled the goal out of their ass, and that ended up being the only goal that Spain conceded. Spain's toughest match was their opening game against Cape Verde. But that final, I mean, it was complete dominance. I'm a massive Messi fan, but even I had to admit that Argentina team didn't deserve anything. If they had won, it would have been a very bad look for football. For Spain to play so beautifully, create so many chances, and then lose off of a set piece or some random goal. So it was good to see that the team that played the best football throughout the whole tournament were actually crowned as the champions. And this team has all the ingredients to go on a run of international dominance like Spain did back in 2008 to 2012. I mean, they're 2/3 of the way there. That Spain team won the Euros in 2008, won the 2010 World Cup, and then won the 2012 Euros. This Spain team won the 2024 Euros, and then they won the 2026 World Cup in a very similar fashion to the way that Spain won back in 2010. In 2010, Spain lost their opening match against Switzerland. And many people were like, oh, this team is cooked, they're finished, they're not going to go far. And then they made it all the way to the final and won using a very similar approach to what we see now, which is control games through possession, barely concede, but they also didn't score a ton of goals. And if you watch this Spain team, most of their games were close in terms of the scoreline, never in terms of the tempo and the momentum. They controlled games from start to finish against every single national team. But you look at their win against Argentina, despite having so many shots on target, it came from one goal from Ferran Torres and extra time. And I think it's so fitting that the class of 2010 Spain team was watching that, and just like in 2010 when a Barca player, Andres Iniesta, scored the winner against the Dutch, it was another Barca guy scoring the winner, this time against Argentina. And that's why I laugh when people rush to my comments to mock me because Messi lost the World Cup final. Number one, Messi is already a world champion, but number two, I'm also a massive Barca glazer. So for me, this final was a beautiful spectacle to watch because no matter who won, I won. And the Barca guys did great. They did their part. But the main thing that I want to talk about is how much of a unit this Spanish team is. Like with Argentina, they're a good team with an absolute alien up front who carried them there. But this Spain team is a unit. It's this perfect system where you can interchange players and the thing as a whole will still operate at the highest level. That's why when you look at their team, a lot of the biggest names, people like Nico Williams, Lamine Yamal, Pedri, were not at their best, yet Spain as a whole continued to dominate games. And that's what happens when you play as one. You don't rely on anybody. And again, I understand that Lamine Yamal was super important to the team in terms of creativity and creating chances, and he wasn't 100%, and Nico Williams wasn't at 100%. But I keep repeating myself, this Spain national team is a true team. It's not 11 individuals like Portugal, or one individual with a bunch of soldiers like Argentina. And it really starts from the back line because this Spain team won because they were defensively so solid. A big part of that, of course, comes from the fact that they hold so much possession that they automatically limit your opportunities. But the back four played great. I mean, we'll start with the goalkeeper Unai Simon. I was super critical of this guy because I thought both Joan Garcia and Roja had been so much better at club level that they would have been a better goalie. But De La Fuente stuck with the guy that helped him win Euro 2024, and he did the job. Yes, he had a couple of bozo moments against Belgium, but he made the saves that he had to make. He was great playing out from the back, and he deserved the Golden Glove. Now, having said that, I do think that Unai Simon didn't have a ton of work to do because the two center backs were monsters. Let's start with Pau Cubarsí, who deservedly won the Young Player of the Tournament award. This guy got a lot of criticism throughout the season, and I kept coming on here and defending him, saying that when you play in that kamikaze Hansi Flick high line, you're not always going to look great. And look at what happens at the World Cup. Cubarsí plays in a line that's not high up to the halfway line, higher than Snoop Dogg the way Hansi Flick does. He plays next to a reliable partner who is older than him, but excellent at what he does, good positioning, doesn't make mistakes, is there to help him out. And what do you know? Spain destroy everybody. I mean, that semifinals against France, that was beautiful lockdown defending from both Pau Cubarsí and Laporte. France had gone through everybody the way Jude Bellingham's girl goes through guys. Yet Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, Michael Olise, none of them could do anything against the Spanish. Cubarsí locked down Mbappe once again. I mean, we had seen it in multiple El Clasicos. And the best attack in the entire tournament, the team that was being compared to 2002 Brazil, couldn't get a single goal. And that's what they did all tournament. And then of course I have to give appreciation to Laporte because he did an excellent job. This duo basically reminded me of Cubarsí and Inigo Martinez from the 2024-2025 season with Barca. A young guy and an older guy, both playing well off of each other, both anchoring the back line, and it's one of the biggest reasons why Spain became world champions. Then you had Cucurella at left back who did his job just like Euro 2024. Some great assists while he pushed up, good defensively, and when it comes to this guy, you can never discount or say that he didn't try hard enough. He leaves it all on the pitch, he bleeds for the badge, and that's one of the biggest reasons why Real Madrid brought him in, because they needed a personality, a character like this to complement all the prima donnas and egos that are in that Real Madrid locker room. Then at right back, Pedro Porro had a great tournament. It's actually really funny. All the Spurs defenders had a great World Cup, making you question how that team finished 17th. You had Romero, who did a great job with Argentina, Jed Spence, who doubled his market value playing for England, and then Pedro Porro. We all knew that this guy was good going forward at Tottenham as well, and we saw it again at the World Cup. A wonderful goal against France, scored the header against Austria, but defensively there were always questions about him, and he was not a defensive liability at all this tournament. And that's how you get a back four that concedes only one goal. Then you get into the midfield, and Rodri, masterclass, maestro. Personally, again, I'm biased. I felt that Messi deserved to be the player of the tournament. The thing is voted before the final, so I was a bit shocked that the guy who got 8 goals and 4 assists didn't win the best individual player of the tournament. But the fact that Rodri got it shows you just how important he's been to the Spain side. He won the best player of the tournament at Euro 2024, then he's the best player of the World Cup 2 years later. And that's actually so impressive when you consider the fact that between these two tournaments, he had a major injury. And he's not a young guy anymore either, so he got a major hamstring injury in his 30s, and a lot of people were questioning whether this guy would ever reach the levels that he got to in 2024. Well, he did, and you could argue he went beyond that because I actually thought his 2026 World Cup campaign was even better than the Euros. He makes this team tick. He's great defensively, reading passing lanes, winning duels, and then in possession, I mean, fantastic at receiving the ball in between the spaces, in between the lines, dictating the tempo, knowing when to speed things up, when to slow down, when to play long balls to ping it to the wingers, when to do a little bit of tiki-taka and slow the game down in the middle of the park. He's a wonderful midfielder. And when I talked about Spain's dominance and how they can win the next Euros as well, it will depend hugely on how healthy this guy is in 2 years' time. Because yes, they have Zubamendi that can step in, but Rodri has been vital to Spain's last 2 international tournaments. Then in front of him, Dani Olmo, another excellent campaign. He was excellent in Euro 2024, excellent again at the 2026 World Cup. Sorry for using the word excellent over and over again, but I don't know how else to describe Dani Olmo. Excellent in tight spaces, so clever. One of the best players I've ever seen on the half turn. The little flicks that he does, he has eyes almost on the back of his head. That's how creative he is. And you see why Barcelona wanted him and why when he's healthy, he's phenomenal. So he had another great tournament. Fabian Ruiz was wonderful. De La Fuente made a massive call to draw Pedri in the middle of the tournament because Pedri's the conductor, he's a bigger name. But Fabian Ruiz showed why he is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players out there. Because again, this is another player who was really good at the 2024 Euros and he was good again at the World Cup. He crashes the box late, so he's great at getting goals, but he's also another player who's so good in tight spaces and keeping the game moving. So De La Fuente made a bold call and Fabian Ruiz rewarded him. Now Pedri, he didn't have the best tournament of his career, but he showed in that final against Argentina when he came on just how important he is to the team, even if he's not playing at his best capabilities. Nobody controls the game like he does. Like I just praised Fabian Ruiz, but Pedri was actually better than him when it came to the World Cup final. He came on and Spain went to another level when it came to their control of the tempo. And that's what he does, and that's why the Spain team is so good, because you can just interchange these players. And as a unit, they still dominate. Then you also have Oyarzabal, who scored so many important goals throughout the tournament, a striker who has been lethal whenever he puts on the Spain jersey. Now, to be fair to him, he was in great form considering what he had done with La Real at club level, but a lot of question marks came around the Spain team and what were they going to do up front. Oyarzabal answered all of those doubts. And then we have Ferran Torres, who deservedly got the winner in the final. And I think it's hilarious that Ferran Torres had a hand to play in sending both Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi home. Because if you guys remember, remember, Ferran Torres assisted Mikel Merino's winner versus Portugal, and then he scores the winner against Argentina. He deserves it because this guy has gone through a lot of mental battles, and I myself have been very critical about him because his finishing can be so inconsistent. He's very similar to Darwin Núñez in that he does everything right with his movement and where he positions himself, but some games the finishing boots are not there, but when it's there, he's so vital to the team. We've even seen that with Barcelona. So yes, he's a very hot and cold player. Don't let the winner at a World Cup change the fact that he's had some absolute disaster classes, but he deserves a lot of love, and no matter what happens in his club career, he has etched his name into history. There was also Mikel Merino, who was Mr. Clutch. I mean, how many late winners did this man score? He did it for Arsenal, then he did it again for Spain, and another player who was clutch in Euro 2024 as well. And this guy, he played up front, he played as a central midfielder. It just further proves what I had said earlier about Spain being a complete team. Anybody can come off the bench and add value. Now, Spain's wingers were not as good at the World Cup as they were 2 years ago at the Euros, but they still helped. Nico Williams, for example, people again rushed to my video that I was talking about his downfall, saying this aged well. I'm very happy for him. As I talked about in that video, injuries were the things keeping him back. I think it's very important for people to stop yelling at the thumbnail and title and actually watch the video, because it just makes you look like a moron when you comment stupidity without watching it. And Nico Williams, just like Yamal, have been dealing with injuries, but it's good for him that after a very rough 2025-2026 season where he was battling with injuries and not playing well when he was injury-free, it's good that he will always be remembered as the guy who gave the headed assist to Ferran Torres to help Spain become world champions. So yes, the winger duo did not take the world by storm like they did in the 2024 Euros, but they were still pivotal to this team, and it shows you just how scary Spain can be, that they just became world champions without two of their best players being at 100%. These guys deserve this. Everybody played a part, from Mikel Merino's late bench goals to the back line, to De La Fuente going from somebody that was massively criticized when he was first appointed because he had never managed at a big club, he hadn't managed at any club, he had come through the Spain youth system, and a lot of people questioned how he was going to rebuild this team when Luis Enrique, the treble winner, hadn't been able to do it in 2022. But De La Fuente, with that beautiful bald head and glasses, was able to achieve massive things with the Spain side. And who knows, maybe we're looking at another dynasty. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will love this one too. Check it out right here.